A warm welcome to all of you on the other side of the screen. I am the Overly Positive Fanboy, and this is Overly Positive Reviews.
I can't stop it now, but you can.
What is going to happen?
The Devil's Hour is back for another season, and while this one is much more straightforward than the first one, just because this time we actually know what's going on, I can certainly say that I was no less engaged in what was happening. What we have here is another great story following our main characters as they try to catch an elusive bomber. The problem being that nobody knows what he looks like, only when he will strike. And Season 2 manages to deliver more great, tense, suspenseful, emotional, heartfelt, and just all-around brilliant entertainment. If you haven't seen The Devil's Hour yet, get on it right now. You are missing out.
Because according to legend, the bear will show the way.
Paddington Bear is back once again for an all-new film, and this time he's going back to his homeland in darkest Peru. Now, some have argued that taking Paddington out of London kind of takes away the main appeal of the character, and I can certainly understand the logic behind that, especially since the film is essentially a sightseeing, touristy adventure romp through a jungle. But one thing I will say is that returning to Peru does end up heightening the immigration subtext that Paddington had back in the first film, and handles that stuff very well. And the adventure is still a very fun experience overall, with the cast giving their usual great performances, and Emily Mortimer as the recast Mrs. Brown isn't too distracting. The visual effects and humour are as great as always, and the charm that's always been present in these film series is still here in this installment. However, taking full account of the entire story, there is a part of me that wonders if the thing they saved for a twist near the end of the movie could have made for a better story than the one we ended up getting. But regardless, I still say that Paddington in Peru is definitely worth the watch for fans. Maybe the weakest of the three, but that is still far from being a bad movie.
The Arcane is waking up.
I know absolutely nothing about League of Legends. I had never even seen Arcane until the week before this season came out. And now that I have, I can certainly say that, wow, I was missing out. Season 2 continues the high-stakes emotional drama of the first, as the tensions between Piltover and Zorn erupt into all-out warfare, and other machinations step in to really muddy the waters. Yeah, there's a lot going on in Season 2, with characters being pulled this way and that way into all sorts of emotional journeys. There's some very surprising revelations in store, and I can certainly say that I had no idea where anything was going, and I was hooked the whole way through. So while Arcane itself may have come to an end, I am definitely looking forward to what this creative team do with future endeavors. But I don't know if my heart can take anymore.
They aren't your parents. They're just beasts.
You're wrong! They are in there! They have to be!
Spellbound is an animated fairy tale musical. We have seen plenty of these before, and this is certainly another one of those. Look, this is a very cookie-cutter movie. The animation is nice, the performances are good. It's not a bad movie by any means, it's technically competent. But that's all it is. Technically competent. It's not going to stand up among the greats. And the only thing that makes it stand out from all the other animated fairy tale musicals is its ending, where it suddenly turns out this whole story has been an allegory for divorce this whole time. But unfortunately, that comes too little too late to actually save the movie from being anything more than what it is. Oh well, at least it's not as dull as Luck.
Are people born wicked? Or do they have wickedness thrust upon them?
I have never seen Wicked the stage musical. I cannot comment on this movie as an adaptation, although from the people I do know who can, they seem to really like this. And you know what? I really liked this movie. The central performances are all really good, and while I don't need to explain why the songs are good, because, you know, critically beloved stage musical. This whole movie is just really masterfully executed. And the one thing I was wary of, that really long runtime, ended up not being a problem at all. Like, seriously, they ended it at pretty much the perfect place to end it, in a way that while it's not the complete story, it still feels like a complete experience. And somehow, nothing felt wasted. Like, there is no padding in this movie, which again is very impressive given the 2 hour 43 minute long runtime. So yeah, Wicked Part 1 is just a really enjoyable experience, and if you're a fan of the musical, a fan of Oz, or if you're just really curious like me, definitely check this out, because this is a movie that is defying gravity.
Moana, show our people just how far we'll go.
So I guess after all those times we complained about Disney Plus shows feeling like stretched out movies, they decided to just turn one of their Disney Plus shows into a movie. So, how does Moana 2 compare to its predecessor? Unfortunately, I don't think it quite hits the same highs as that film because Moana is a really good film. But I'm still not going to go as far as to say this movie is bad. Like, the animation is just as gorgeous and impressive as it always is. The performances from our leads are also really good as well, because of course they are. The new characters are fun additions, we get plenty of adventure and scrapes, we get some nice world building on display, and I can definitely say I was engaged throughout the whole thing. But there are some issues holding this movie back, and some of those are directly caused by the switch from and some of those are a result of the switch from Disney Plus to movie. Like, for instance, there's a villain twist that happens halfway through this movie that, while I do like it, it leaves the movie feeling incomplete, like they're trying to set up a future storyline. So I guess we'll see you in a few years for Moana 3. Also, I don't know if the new songs are on the same level as the first movie's songs. It will take a few rewatches for me to determine how they hold up in comparison. So yeah, this is certainly a fine movie. It's just not going as far as the first one did, and that is a bit of a shame. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time for more overly positive reviews.